Welcome to True Shots, where we deliver short, unfiltered moments of truth and inspiration designed to realign your path and awaken what's already inside you. I'm your host, Destinnee Vance, and I also have my co host here with me today, Eric Foster. And today's episode title is Simply But Heavy. You can't drag the old into the new. New seasons require release. New levels demand different choices. And growth doesn't happen until you let go of what's already expired. This podcast is powered by Destiny is by Choice Support Services. Let's jump into today's topic. As we do, ask yourself, what doesn't belong in your next chapter? So I think like every year people have done New Year's resolutions, and I kind of stopped doing that a long time ago. I started to do like where I pick a word for the year and pray on that word and really be intentional about praying on that word and implementing that word into the new year. But as we know, like a lot of times we continue to bring in kind of like the old baggage. So I used to hate when people be like, New Year, New Me.
Mm.
But they will be like, New Year, New Me, but old me, you know? Because you would bring like the same thing. Like you didn't change, people didn't
So it
change.
was no new me then.
Right.
It was just bull crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, I think like, I mean, what's your take about like being intentional about what we bring into the new year, like releasing?
If the last quarter of the last year wasn't so rough, I wouldn't know what not to bring into this year. Like I probably would have brought everything into the year because I don't do no resolutions. No, you know. But I had a rough fourth quarter.
So do you feel like
I mean, I
talking about it?
don't,
Or what is something that you intentionally said like, I'm not taking that into the new year?
um, anger, um, and not being mad at a situation rather than a person, you know, because I mean, people hurt people,
Yeah.
you know, and when somebody is looking for somebody to blame, they drag you into their mess, and unfortunately, it don't normally turn out good,
Yeah.
and you learn a lot, you know, about you, about them, um, and you want to be able to trust people, but sometimes you're like, is it even worth it?
Yeah. I mean, what's the saying where it's like you have to trust the person that they show you at first?
Mm. I mean, because normally people um, show you their representative, and not and not them. You know.
You mean the representative to be like when you talking to them, you be like, "Can I speak to personality?"
Yeah, like who they representing at that moment. They come into like a job interview. The person they just get interviewed, that is definitely not the person that's gonna show up to work on Monday.
No.
You know. And a lot of times, man, with people, they don't show up their true self in the beginning.
But I think that speaks something too because you said the person that shows up to the interview is not the person that you're gonna get on the job. That's a lot of people in life.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people represent themselves. I'm not gonna say represent, but present themselves to us in our lives a certain way, and a lot of times they aren't that same person. And
But
it's
that's the thing about being your authentic self and being real to you. You can take you wherever you go.
yeah,
So when you see me, this is what you get.
yeah. I So this year, I really wanted to work in my capacity. I know like what I'm capable of doing. I know what I'm who I'm capable of being. But I think last year I did a lot past my capacity, even in um I'm gonna say like relationships, not like intimate relationships or anything like that. But I just implemented myself in a lot, and I I had to really take a hard look at like the things that I was having coming up this year and say everything that I have to do is because I have to do it. And I don't want to work past my capacity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I took trainings last year that like it was great. Like I took them, I did them, but I at the end of them I felt like I'm tired.
But last year showed me what I was made out of without drugs.
Okay, can you say more? You always give like a little like nugget, and then you be like,
I
so like,
mean,
do you want to say more?
because when my life fell apart, I ain't have nothing to eat to numb the pain. I had to go through it
Yeah,
again. I had to trust the process.
you said in your video.
Yeah.
I hate that saying.
Hey, to sit in something for 3 months, man, is either you can keep going or you can fold, man.
So was it something from that that you learned that you didn't want to take into the new year, or was it like something you learned about yourself or about the process that you didn't want to take into the new year?
I think I learned something about myself from last year to implement in my life forever.
What was that?
Determination.
Mm,
Um, not giving up just because you feel like you've had enough, and going through the pain of not knowing, um, and not being able to fix it. Not being able to, you just gotta let go and let God. And I had never actually did it until now. But it worked out. I'm in a better spot. A little therapy would go a long way.
yeah. I feel like listening to you say that sounds like you had to release control so maybe birth can be determined. I mean, determination can be birthed in you.
You said
I probably said that backwards.
no, no, no. I ain't talking about what you just said. I'm talking about when you said the word intentional. I believe a lot of times as people we do a lot of stuff that's not intentional and accidentally do something worth claiming that it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so whatever happened, I wish it was intentional. Then I could really understand what I went through. But what I had to go through wasn't intentional on my part, but me embracing it was. And the times you've seen me in these last 3 months, you can, I tell you some things, you seen me going through it,
Yeah,
but some days you didn't.
yeah,
You know, even though when I will get up and do a podcast or whatever, I believe I want to say most of the time you didn't know what I was going through because that was an internal battle. Normally it'd have been a drug or something that caused me to go through all that pain, but it wasn't.
mm-hmm.
And that for that I'm grateful. Like it didn't mess my clean date up.
Yeah,
And a lot of people in my situation would have went backwards. But that don't boomerang, not boomerang, spring me forward until a new year. Oh yeah, happy new year by the way.
Happy New
This
Year.
first jump since the new year.
I know.
Yeah.
I think control. I'm just hearing from what you're saying. It sounds like you said that you had to release. And I think you did say you had to release control. Control, is something that I am still learning to release. I
Really?
I am because I can
Hold
remember.
up. This is the same person. If you sit something down, she come right behind you and pick it up.
Yes, but I've had to have control of my life because of things that I have gone through.
Okay.
And so I even said with my like I can remember sitting in my closet one day talking to my friend, and I was in the midst of going through at the beginning of my divorce, and I said I didn't want to be in another relationship because it took me out of my control.
You supposed to go to your closet for prayer.
I was in my closet having a mental breakdown because I was in between, do I ain't gonna say that, do I don't want nobody to be like, she a little crazy, but I was going through something mentally, and I was literally on. She was scared because she's like, I don't know what I should do right now because I don't know if I should just die down there or should I call the police to do a well check. But I can remember saying that I didn't want to be in another relationship, and I was like because it just I didn't like the way it felt. But then once I centered myself, and actually, you talk about prayer, going in your closet to pray. Actually, I started to center myself, and I remember crying. And I said, "But if this is what I have to go through to get to my blessing, then I'll go through it." But I can remember telling her that I know that because I had to have so much, so like in this control of the situation so much, and I was in survival mode so much. I know that my new relationship is going to bring me peace, and it's going to bring me um put me in a frame of mind of releasing control because I'm gonna be with somebody that um is gonna give me that peace of mind. So I had to start, like I tell people, my divorce started to help me release control because there was a lot of situations that was not in my control, and I remember my lawyer telling me, you're gonna have to trust me enough. And my best friend would piggyback from that when I was, talk to her. She was like, no, you're gonna have to trust God enough to let it pan out. And I really truly did. To the point like it literally dropped. I was telling a couple adolescents in IOP, like I dropped weight from 180 to 130.
Mm.
I think you remember that because you asked me, was I okay? And I was
Yeah,
like,
I was hoping you weren't on that stuff.
I wasn't on no stuff. I was stressed, but I started to release. I started to release, and even to the point, I was supposed to take me and my mom was supposed to take the boys. We were supposed to go on a family vacation for Christmas, and the weirdest thing happened with our flight, with our trip, and I was just like, "It is what it is." But the worst part was seeing my kids upset. But I was just like, "It is what it is," and even situations after that, I've had to learn to be like, "It is what it is."
But you got to be able to determine what's in your control and what's out of your control
Yeah,
in order to even understand the control part.
yeah.
I know I get deep sometimes,
No, I mean,
but
it
you
is.
think about it though. Think about it. I don't think releasing control for me is the issue. It's me waiting to see what happens after I release control is my problem. Like I can let go, but I'm gonna be worried about what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But like when I had to turn myself into jail,
Mm-hmm.
um, not knowing they was gonna let me back out. Thank God they did, but I lost a lot of sleep. I probably lost about 20 pounds that time. But I wasn't on that stuff though. Believe that.
I wasn't on this stuff
I
I know some. I know some of y'all was out there like you looking a little small, Destiny.
ain't.
What's going on? But I mean, I I think that that's the part that's hard for a lot of people too when they stepping into New Year's because think about it, depending on what that person has been through that year before, it probably either gave them comfort or either put them in a mode of like survival mode.
But it's like that's why it's so important to surround yourself with some good people
Yeah.
to help lift you and carry you and pull you and push you until you get to a point where you back good. You
Yeah.
know, getting stuck out here on the island by yourself is dangerous,
Yeah.
regardless of where you come from. But not having like I've been in therapy for 2 years, and now I'm really seeing how it's helped me, and I'm also seeing the work I need to do
Yeah.
because I had never talked about me like that. I always talked about me like in the third person. Like
I think
the
that's the hard part. Like Michael Jackson said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror.
oh
Man,
man,
when you start looking at yourself and those, and I don't feel like it's like a critique part. I think it's just a part of I need to change some things. But it can take you to some deep places where you be like,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. Because what's crazy is I can stare in the sun but can't stare in the mirror.
Mm,
That was a rough one. You know how bright the sun is?
yeah,
You gotta do like this. I couldn't even go, man. When you start brushing your teeth in the shower, washing your face in the dark, you know.
because you don't like what you see.
Yeah. But and sometimes you be doing looking real bad, but you think you're doing boss good.
Yeah,
You can't even see it.
I remember one time I looked in the mirror. I hadn't looked in the mirror in a while, but I was in a bad place, and I looked in the mirror and I asked myself, "Are you okay?" And immediately I started crying. I was like, but I felt like I was thriving. I was out here, I was doing it, and then I looked in the mirror and I asked myself, "Are you okay?"
Man, man, the new year, new me.
You know what? I but you know what? I can see you saying that because I know you've been working on yourself. But some people they can't say that because they're not wanting to do the work. And I get it. I get it. The work is it's hard because, like I said, it takes you to some deep places of yourself that you be like, "Ooh, I didn't know I was like that." And I think is what is this? Is it a step in there where you start um I don't know, but is it where you start like making amends or
Yes,
yeah,
but we gotta go through 1 through 12. That's why they design in that order because if you jump from 1 to 8, you might go back to having to do everything over again, like surrender, pick up a white key tag. So
yeah.
it's for a purpose.
And I recently heard somebody tell their story and how they had gotten on a step and they said that they were still in active addiction, but they in their mind didn't think it was an active addiction because they were using a substance that a doctor had prescribed them. And something somebody asked him was, "Are you ready to get clean?" He was like, "Yeah, let me call my doctor and get tapered down." And they was like, "No, we getting clean today." And I think a lot of times when we do want to start making changes, we feel like we have to start on January 1st.
Hmm.
People do that when they go to the gym. Start on January 1st. Or I'm going to start eating right on January 1st. January 1st, I ain't doing anything. But if you really know what you want to do, come December 18th or November when you start thinking about it, why not do it then? Why you gotta wait?
Yeah, but I believe that we shouldn't need people to tell us we need to change,
Yeah,
or we don't need people to put into place precautions for us when we know if we take a certain action that we already know the outcome because it's happened so many times. Like I'm gonna have some dental work done and I can't use no pain pills other than ibuprofen, but I didn't need nobody to tell me I need to try to do it without it. I'm like, I'm gonna do it without it because I'm afraid that if I took a drug, it'd stop me back over from where I left off at. Not because I'll relapse, because I'll be using it as a doctor ordered, but it may open up Pandora's box and I can't close it.
Yeah.
Then the next thing you know,
You're gonna be looking small.
yeah, my pocket's gonna be touching. Y'all be like, yo. Then they'll be saying, you seen E lately?
That wraps up today's truth
Yeah.
shot. Can't drag the old into the new. So as you move forward, move lighter. What you refuse to let go of will keep you stuck in cycles you've already outgrown. As always, your destiny is by choice, not by chance. And until next time, keep walking in your truth.
Peace.